Hey guys, Jordan from the Affirmation Project. Um, Another thought. All this video blog is my thoughts. Sorry about that. So another thought I've had is morality, which is a term that sadly most people would never even have heard of or contemplate. You know, what's moral, what's right, and it's an approach I've been trying to incorporate more into my life at the moment, and it's really helping. So, I mean, in terms of my progression within this life and becoming a better person. So I thought I'd share it. And every decision that I'm trying to make now, you make hundreds during a day. Not all of them get a chance to be moral or not. But something I think now is, instead of benefiting me, what is the moral thing to do? What I mean by that is, for example, if you're if you've got a block of chocolate, just something simple, and you really want the last piece, in your head it's very easy to justify you having the last piece. Maybe you haven't even had a piece of chocolate yet. But the moral thing to do and to be a better person would still be to offer that piece of chocolate. Very probably rubbish scenario and example. There are way bigger decisions than that to make in a day. But I feel like if I can make that decision, at each turn during the day, and I forget about it a lot of the time, but if I keep coming back to it, it'll become habit. And then, as long as I'm not benefiting myself and putting the greater good, if you like, I don't like that term, but if you're putting others before you and what's moral, like even a bad thing, like something not illegal, because illegal laws are not morals. Everybody needs to make that distinction. It drives me insane. So, for example, taxes, this is my common rant, are not moral, okay? Taxation is theft at the end of the day. Nobody ever said, oh, I agree upon my first job. No one ever sat down and signed this, that I will work 1 day a week and the government gets to steal that from me and everything's fine. I agree to that, to fund projects that I A, don't believe in, B, is massively inefficient because that's all government is, and C, could be highly immoral, like, I don't know, blowing people up in the Middle East. So, sorry, rant there, over with. So, morals and laws, just because something is lawful does not mean it's moral. So, for example, Prohibition, America, 1 day drinking alcohol was illegal, the next day it wasn't. So, does that mean that 1 day drinking alcohol was immoral? That you were a bad person for drinking alcohol? And the next day it was perfectly moral? God smiles down on you when drinking alcohol. Of course it doesn't. But that's the way that the trick is played on everybody. People make the association between what is lawful, as in what is right and just and moral. No such thing. Laws are made by the most corrupt people in the world, because that's all politicians are. If you're attracted to those positions of power and influence over other individuals, which in itself is immoral, who has a right over another person? Nobody. Then the whole thing's immoral. So every law, in fact, can be seen as immoral. It really is rant over. I forgot the complete point of this video now. So yeah, the question of what's moral. So instead of benefiting yourself, ask yourself if it's moral. So if you found, like, if you see $100 bill fall out of someone's pocket on the street, and it's a big banker, and he's walking down the street, probably a pretty immoral person, right? You could think, oh, I'll pick that up. I'm only scraping by. I need that $100 way more than he does. And that would be an example in your head of benefiting yourself, which a lot of the time is ego, let's be honest. And you can justify, like the justifications I just gave you then. That's your ego, and you're trying to work yourself, your sense of self, trying to work out a reason why it's right for you to take that $100 bill. But the moral thing to do would be to pick up the $100 bill and give it back to the banker, regardless of what kind of person they are and whether they need it or not, because the money wasn't yours. And that's probably a better example than the flipping piece of chocolate. But that's a better example of how this works. I just feel like if everybody did that every day, even to one decision that they make in the whole day, then, you know, eventually, it sounds corny, but the world would be a better place. So that's something I'm trying to do and ask myself at every turn, because I've got this horrible feeling at the moment that I think people wouldn't perceive me as a selfish person. But when I think about it deeply and the way that I live my life and act, I've got a horrible feeling that I am a very selfish person. Like, a lot of the things personally that I do in my life could be considered selfish, even if most people wouldn't even think it was, but I'm a much deeper thinker than most people. So I just feel like if I can do this, then I can catch myself in the act. I can be like, what? That's me being selfish right there. Let's back off. Like, for example, I did it yesterday at work. I have to write my hours down that I work every day for each shift. So if I finish my tasks, 10 minutes before the hour's up, oh no, 15 minutes before the hour's up, I could always just round that hour up, that last 15 minutes, and round it up to the nearest hour when I put my wages in. The hours that I've worked for my wages. Or I could actually notice that 15 minutes, and then the next day when I work again, I could work 15 minutes longer to make up that 15 minutes so that I'm even at the end of it. Or I could just say I worked the 45 minutes and not the hour, even if it is a pain for the admin to work that out. And that would be an example of that doesn't benefit me because I'm getting less money, but it's the moral thing to do. It's the right thing to do. It was the agreed upon terms when I agreed to work for the employer and they agreed to hire me. It was a mutual decision, so it was moral. So yeah, that's just some of my thoughts on morality. I might make a few more videos, more deep philosophical discussions around morality, because there's a lot to it and I feel like people don't understand, and some of the information can be pretty heavy out there from philosophers on what's moral. So hopefully I've digested a lot of it, so hopefully I can spit it out in a more, layman's terms for you. Alright guys, take care. Have a good one.